Hi, welcome to Chapel Hill Maker. I'm Rachel and I love knitting and making here in usually beautiful Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Today is a pretty gray day and we are in the in-between times between Christmas and New Year's, where if you're anything like me, you have no idea what day it is, what time it is, what meal we're supposed to eat next, all of those kind of things, but it's sort of a blissful quiet time in our house. And so hopefully this finds you having had a lovely holiday, however you chose to celebrate. The universe had different plans for us than we had, in that our whole family got taken out with the flu. So we had a very cozy quarantine Christmas here, as opposed to being with our family up in New Jersey. But have no fear, we're heading up in a couple days so that we can celebrate the new year with them. You may hear Mary Poppins bebopping around here in the bedroom. She is extra lively today, so hopefully she won't be too much of a disruption. Just to start out, I'm wearing a classic Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks, and I knit this out of one of my favorite workhorse yarns, that is Purl SoHo's knitting yarn. It's a DK weight and they have a ton of colors, and this was the second one that I made that we did as a knit along with my knitting group, and so much better than the first one that I had made, which was too short, too tight, and colors that don't speak to me anymore. So it is a super fun color work project. If you're thinking of trying color work, I recommend this as a first color work project. It looks really complicated, but it is just so potato chippy and you just want to keep going. So so this is the Soldotna crop, and I'll link it in the show notes as well. So I can't remember if I said it, but you can find me here on YouTube as Chapel Hill Maker, as well as Instagram and Ravelry. Would love for you to go and give me a follow on there so we can continue the conversation. Today is another sort of holiday mini-sode. I wanted to sort of check in one more time before the year ended, and of course, thank you for your continued watching, and also just kind of get ready for the new year as far as making goes. While we were sick, I honestly barely had any energy to knit, which is so uncommon for me. But it did give me some time to sort of do some dream knitting and looking around at my stash and seeing kind of what I wanted to focus on in the new year. And I have committed to myself to clear the decks of a few of my works in progress. So you may not end up seeing these on my needles for a little bit, but I have a few current works in progress that I'm really excited about wearing that for some reason I just have not been able to sort of set my focus on. And I'm hoping now that the holidays are behind us and we're into the cozy days of winter, I'll have the energy to just sit down and bang those out. I don't think any of them will take me a particularly long time. It's just you can't make any progress if you're not picking them up. So I wanted to just kind of set some plans for 2026, and I'm thinking if I say them out loud, maybe I'll actually do it. I'm not making any promises. One thing I try to avoid in knitting are absolutes. I don't expect you will ever hear me say, I won't buy new yarn, I won't cast something on, knitting is such a source of soul feeding for me that I try not to put a lot of boundaries on my making. But I do have some patterns that have been kicking around, some I've mentioned on here before and some I haven't. And so I'm hoping that maybe by recording this video, we'll have some plans and maybe I'll actually follow through on them in the new year. So I do have one finished object that I wanted to share with you today, and that is my Freckled Whimsy Advent socks. And I did these bottom up with a Turkish cast on, and then knit about a stripe a day. Some days I missed and did 2 the next. One of my socks I finished by Christmas Eve, and the other one I finished, I think, the day after Christmas. So I did a shadow wrap heel on these, and I talked about that in my last episode. And these were just straight old vanilla socks. I did do a tubular bind off. In the past, I've had a tough time with my toe up socks having a cuff that was stretchy enough and also didn't flare. So these are a 60 stitch sock that I knit on size 0 needle. So I have pretty small feet. So these come up pretty high on my legs, but as always, just a really fun exercise to do where you're knitting a stripe a day. And I do have over 50 grams or about 50 grams left of these, plus the mini, I don't know if you can see there. And what I would love to do is I'd love to send the leftovers to one of you guys. And so I'm gonna call it a hand-me-down or a gift away. It's not really a giveaway because it's not new yarn, but I would love for these to, if you've been wanting to try to knit a pair of Advent socks or striped socks or just new socks, I would love to send these to you. So if you comment Advent below, I'll use a random number generator and send them to anybody who wants them. So like I said, I'm gonna call them a hand-me-down gift away. And if I can, I would love to have them go to a good home and become another pair of socks. So these are my Advent socks by Freckled Whimsy, and they are done, and I've already worn them. So now into my 2026 knitting plans. And this one I talked about after Rhinebeck because I bought the yarn from Cellar Dyeworks, and this is their, what is the name of this base? Let's see. This is their DK yarn, and it's a 40% superfine alpaca, 40% merino, and 20% silk. And I don't know if you can see, it has a really nice halo. And it is a Aran weight pattern, so I'm going to pair it, if you could see right there, with some Brooklyn tweed loft that I have a cone of that I would love for it to go into a memorable project. And so this is for the Froya sweater. Did I say that? I'm like I said, just getting over the flu. So yeah, I'm gonna do the Froya sweater, and I'll put a picture of it right here. And this is a beautiful, modern, all over cabled, oversized pullover. It has a very Scandinavian feel to it. It's by Ingrid Dyb, and this one I'm really excited to cast on. My first cast on, I think, of last year was my Dagmar sweater, which was also an all over cable. I love texture, and so I think that is going to be one of my 2026 goals, because I've been talking about this sweater for some time. So that is the Froya sweater. The next one I have, this was an acquisition as well. This was a gift from Maddie at Colorado Knitter. And it was such a wonderful surprise, especially after just being down with the flu and feeling sorry for myself. This showed up in the mail, and I have been wanting to try Fiber MacGyver yarn for some time. I saw them in Rhinebeck, but their booth was so crowded I couldn't even get near it. And this is a bundle for the Loof Mittens. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that pattern is by Lone Jedson. Maybe, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm so sorry. But I will put her information in the show notes as well. And as you can see here, these are these beautiful striped cozy mittens, and they have a Surrey alpaca liner. So they're striped on the outside, and then they have a liner on the inside that is just cozy, soft Surrey. And this yarn is so soft. And so it is a merino DK and a Surrey silk. And I'm really excited to try this. Susie at Fiber MacGyver seems lovely, and Madi has already started her mittens, and they just look so cute. So I cannot wait to wind these up and have that be my first accessory of 2026. The next one is the Harvest Flower Sweater, and this made a huge splash in the fall. It's by Jessie Made Designs, and it's the one with the gorgeous graphic yoke of the big modern looking flowers. It reminds me of Small World at Disney, like that sort of mid-century modern aesthetic. And all of the sweaters I have seen online of this have been gorgeous. In fact, when it first came out, I said, there's no way I'm making this because everybody else is gonna make it, and I was trying not to be bandwagony. And then the more of these that I've seen online, the more I was like, all right, it's a bandwagon for a reason. I'm hopping on. This I had fun really digging into my stash while I was sick. I did not have the energy to wind up yarn, or else I might have cast it on, but cooler heads prevailed, and I got back to work on my test knit and on some of my other current whips. And so this is pulled from Deep Stash, and one of my concerns about this is it's a DK weight pattern. She used Pishkun DK from the Farmer's Daughter, which is a pretty round and plump DK yarn, and it's knit up at an 18 stitch gauge. And so I've pulled DK weight yarn out, and I'll be interested to see if I can get gauge with that when I have spun it up, when I wind it up into cakes, because that just feels like a pretty big gauge for DK weight yarn. So I don't know if I'll be asking too much, but this is Ula and Leah yarn, and I have this as my main color. And this is a cool company that I have bought several times from them off of Kickstarter, and the yarn is made in Mongolia, and this is a 100% yak yarn, and it's made from free range yaks, and they go to Mongolia and they teach women from impoverished areas how to get the fiber. And I'm not sure if it's milled in Mongolia or if it's milled somewhere else, to be honest. It doesn't say, but I would really encourage you to go check them out. I knit with one of their other yarns. I made the I'll put it up here, but I made a Tori Yu sweater that had like the lace on the arm with their yarn as well, and it's sturdy but so soft, and so and it does grow a fair amount when you block it. So it's not as round of a DK as the Pishkin, but I'm hoping it'll work. If not, I really am looking forward to putting this into another pattern. And this is the natural color. Isn't that gorgeous? And so my contrast colors that I've pulled out are, this is I think now discontinued Rowan Cashmere. And this would be the main color, the big flower. And then this is Julie Aslin Lizu Fingering. And I would hold this double for the center of the flower. And so I think these together just are really fun. Hopefully you can see how bright this little pink pop is. And then, to be honest, I have no idea what the yarn this is. I am pretty sure it's DK. And this was in stash, no tag, in typical Rachel fashion. And I just think that this would be the stem of the flower. And let's see, where it is. And so I'm thinking this is gonna be my colors if I can get gauge with this. If not, stay tuned. Might have to pick something else. But I'm really excited about using up some of my stash, and a lot of this is pretty deep stash. That Ula and Leah, I think, has been in my stash for about 2 years, and the Rowan Cashmere at least that much. And so I'm excited to sort of get some of these things that I bought with projects in mind, that I no longer remember what they were, into actual garments, and that I can wear them in the new year. And then my last, let's see, my last project that I'm thinking of casting on, I was definitely influenced by those twins who knit. If you watch their podcast, they make such beautiful projects. They knit and they sew, and they're so good about sharing their project experiences, even if they are, you know, they share their challenges that they've had and how they fixed them. And I always find that really helpful, but mostly I just find them super inspiring. They create a ton of projects and beautiful, beautiful finished objects. And so I think it was Jessica who made, and it's another Rachel who knits, by the way. It's Rachel and Jessica, and I think it was Jessica, but don't quote me, who made the matcha jumper by Vare Knits. And you may remember my wreath there that I made at the beginning of the holiday season, and that also is Vare Knits. And so I love her pattern writing style, and I have had this yarn in stash since Rhinebeck 2024, and it is the Bare Naked Wool Better Breakfast DK. And this is so soft. It is a light DK. It's 300 yards for 4 ounces. It's a 3-ply yarn, and it contains 65% merino and 35% de-haired alpaca. So I'm not really sure what the de-haired part of it means in terms of how it impacts the yarn or not. Maybe it just has less halo to it, but you can see it has a really nice tight ply to it. And I think it would be it's going to be, whatever it is, a beautiful sweater. So assuming I can get gauge on this as well, I'm gonna use this for the matcha jumper. And I did have, Irene Lynn has a new all over textured, I'm looking it up right now, sweater that I am also pretty excited about. And let's see, it is called the Fern Line sweater. And that also is a DK 21 stitch gauge. And so it might be better for this than the matcha. I'll put a picture of it here too. And I'm a sucker for all over texture. I've done a few of those already. The Salty Days by Veronica Lindberg, and I did one by Sandnes Garn that was in their Soft for Women book, and I'm totally blanking on the name. But that's my sort of other option. But the matcha jumper is a 22 stitch gauge, so I think that would work with this as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. It has a beautiful, let's see if I could talk about it with my iPad here. It has a beautiful raglan neckline, or shape, you know, shoulder shaping. There we go. Where if you could see that there. And I love just like the little touches that make it, you know, take it from being sort of a normal utility sweater to something that elevates it just a little bit. So I think that those are my sort of I don't know, want to say they're my plans, but they are my musings for 2026. And I can't be held responsible because all of these designers come out with amazing new patterns, and I am easily influenced by the things that I'm seeing on Ravelry and that I'm seeing my friends make and that I'm seeing y'all do on Instagram. And it has been some of my favorite things are ones that I didn't even really plan on making. So, oh, the Sandisgarn one is called the Guernsey Genser. I totally blanked on that, but I'll put a picture of that up on here too. And that was an oversized, really oversized all over texture as well. So I think that brings me to the end of this mini-sode. And I would love to just wish you all a happy new year, and I hope that these last few days of Betwixtmas give you some time to reflect on the year that we just had and set intentions for the year ahead. And I can't thank you again for watching and liking and subscribing and commenting, all of the ings. And this podcast has been one of my favorite surprises of 2025. Good surprises. And I've gotten to know many of you in the comment section and on Instagram, and it has really enriched my knitting life. And I can't thank you enough. So I wish you just the happiest new year, and I look forward to coming back in January with probably some of the same projects you've already seen, but maybe one or two of them will be done. So looking forward to catching up soon. Happy New Year.